After Iowa, ahead of the New Hampshire primary, as Bernie Sanders angles to graduate from the status of challenger to frontrunner, we are pleased to welcome a man who knows him better than most, his elder brother of 6 years. Larry Sanders, you're the health and social care spokesperson for the Green Party in the UK. You've lived in Oxford a large part of your adult life.
50 years.
Thank you for joining us here.
Yes.
Before we talk about the race for the Democratic nomination for U.S. president, your reaction to the acquittal of Donald Trump.
Oh, well, an acquittal in which your jury is made up of your friends is probably not a very strong acquittal.
Is this a blip that will just kind of, that won't really matter come November?
It's terribly hard to know. It really should matter. What he's done and what is quite clearly he's done, which is to try to angle American policy with regard to the Ukraine because of his political ambitions, is unacceptable in any democratic society, in any society, in fact. He's put his country's supposed interests, that is the interest of helping a particular policy in the Ukraine, which the United States had developed. Whether it's a good policy or not, I have no idea. But the country, through its constitutional means, had developed a policy to give this money for military assistance. And Trump said, yes, you can have that if you will damage my political opponent. Now.
And we witnessed this week perhaps what could just be a foretaste of the acrimony and bitterness we're going to see throughout this election year, what with the president refusing to shake the hand of the House Speaker and then she tearing up his speech at the end. Did Nancy Pelosi do the right thing when she did that?
I have no idea. I hate this stuff, of course. We have enormous issues, I mean, the United States and the world. There's not many times in world history that are as serious as the ones we face now.
Political theater matters, though.
And this is just political theater. This is trivia written. This is Trump. This is the what do they call him? That kind of television that he's the master of.
Reality TV.
Reality television.
Let's talk about some of those big issues. And first of all, your reaction to the fact that it's looking very much like, as we record this, we don't have the final tally, but that your brother has won the popular vote in Iowa and has come almost even with Pete Buttigieg.
Yes.
First of all, are you surprised to see Buttigieg faring so well? And what are your thoughts on Iowa?
Well, I am surprised. I thought he would do. I thought he would do well, but not that well. I am surprised at how much the media is reporting the delegate thing, which is some arcane system for awarding something or other, when Bernard has so clearly won the popular vote, which in most elections is what counts. You win the election when you get more votes than your opponent.
4 years ago, he wins in Iowa. He wins in New Hampshire, doesn't win the nomination. How much do those early states matter?
Well, they matter. I think they've done it for Biden. His poor showing in Iowa. I think he will do badly in New Hampshire. He'll limp on, but I think his candidacy is finished.
His candidacy finished?
That's my opinion.
Because afterwards you have Nevada and South Carolina before Super Tuesday.
Yeah, but I think it's not just that he's lost these states badly. Well, what does it mean? It's a kind of very large-scale poll. It's true that Iowa and New Hampshire don't have the same demography as Nevada and South Carolina and other states. But for him to do so badly means that he really has. I think he's a very poor candidate. He stumbles. He's worse than me. But deeper than that, he really is in many ways a repeat of Hillary Clinton, of a history of very bad politics on the left in America. I say on the left throughout most of the world, throughout Europe certainly, where the social democratic parties have flopped. They failed. They failed because over many years they tried to come very close, triangulate with the right. And they've really betrayed millions of people. People don't always know why things are so difficult. But the kind of policies that have been fostered have done damage.
2020 is not 2016. There are more candidates on the left, most notably the Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. And you have the surge of new faces like the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg. The Democratic Party still has to bring together to win an election those from the left and those from the center. Can Bernie Sanders do that?
Well, yes, I think he can.
What's his appeal to the center?
His appeal to the center is that the same people in the center who need good health care and don't need a health care system which wastes hundreds of billions of dollars, they have been lied to and deceived. But Bernard is very good at breaking through that. I think he wouldn't be where he is now if many people hadn't begun to see it. So the center is not that different. The real campaign is between people who are safe and secure, and that's a very small number of very rich people, because even many quite well-off middle-class people find a life of insecurity. American capitalism now is a life of, I see it in my own family. I used to be a little worried that by leaving in America, I had made my children's lives less likely to succeed, and look at my friends and relatives, and their children are doing pretty well. But the insecurity, the suddenness of dismissals, the close down of industries and of government bureaus and of hospitals, it's a bitter kind of capitalism, and people of all walks of life suffer. So there's a very small number advantaged, a very large number disadvantaged.
So, Larry Sanders, let me ask you a personal question. I have siblings. With one of them, we went on a road trip to the Iowa State Fair last summer, and there was a day where there was like 6 candidates who appeared. Bernie Sanders, when he showed up, had by far the largest crowd. He had a well-oiled machine. Everybody was given signs to wave.
Yes.
And he was the only one who didn't take questions from the audience. He came, he gave his stump speech, and he left. And my brother and I asked, so I'm asking you, is he a listener? Is he somebody who engages, or is he just stick to his message each time?
No, he's a very good listener. I hope that there are some things on television with him having conversations. Giving a speech is giving a speech. It's essentially a one-sided
Because the other candidates, they all fielded questions from the audience.
Yes. Bernard often does. I was with him in New Hampshire and Maine a couple of months ago, and he took lots of questions.
Because the criticism that's been made is, his message is the same as when he was mayor of Burlington, Vermont, back in the 1980s.
Yes. I think in the basis it is true. Bernard has said, yes, this country can do well for all of its citizens. And the other parties, the Republicans have been horrific. The Democrats have always wavered and quavered and been afraid to really tackle people with lots of money. And as a result, lots of people have not done well. So I think that what Bernard is saying, it is the same thing. I used to tell him he was very boring. And he used to tell me that I was unreliable because I always said something different each time. I think he's right, but he's right because he's right.
Did you ever convince him?
No, I didn't convince him.
You never convinced him?
I didn't convince him that his way of doing it was wrong. And the evidence is that he was right, because he's done politically rather better than I have.
He's done politically better than you have. Again, I ask you, and this is my final question, Americans are alarmed by the level of vitriol and the way politics has become so tribal. The appeal of a candidate who can reach out to the other side. Can Bernie Sanders do that?
Bernie Sanders will not reach out to the worst people who are running, the people who are taking lots of money to do quite nasty things to the American people. He will reach out to the American people. He's an honest, decent person. It comes across. His policies are powerful. They've worked out. He works very well with the policy people. And I think that that's what will make the difference.
At the last Democratic convention, there were those people with the chanting Bernie or bust. If he's not the nominee, will he rally behind the candidate 100%?
Bernard rallied behind Clinton 100% last time. If she had worked as hard in the last few months as he did, she'd have won. He kept his word. He said this, again that he will support any candidate. He will support any candidate, and he will do it very well.
Larry Sanders, thank you so much for joining us and stopping by.
Thank you.
Yes, Bernie